Heat Exchanger First Evaluation Video, Team 6, by Caterina, Niles, and Lidia. We decided to design a shell and tube heat exchanger. The hot water flows through a copper coil that is enclosed in a plastic project box. There are 3 holes on the right side, 1 for the hot water inlet, 1 for the hot water outlet, and 1 for the cold water inlet. The left side contains 1 hole for the cold water outlet.
The heat exchanger tubes had 30 thousandths of an inch thick walls and a total pipe length of approximately 12 feet 3 inches to maximize the contact area while keeping the thermal resistance low and staying within budgetary constraints. The hot water transfers heat rapidly via conduction through the thin copper tube walls, and then heat transfer is dominated by turbulent forced convection to the cold water flowing through the enclosure. Turbulence is generated and maintained by a network of acrylic baffles.
In order to make our heat exchanger, we uncoiled 3/8 inch outer diameter copper pipe and used the pipe cutter to cut out 16 7-inch straight lengths of pipe. We then brazed the ends of about half of the pipes to solder connect U-bend 3/8 inch fittings. After laser cutting 1/4 inch thick acrylic to make our baffles, we used some of the baffles to locate the tubes, wrap them in wet paper towels to protect against overheating, and then braze the other ends of the tubes to the fitting. We then drilled holes in our 10 by 6 by 4 inch plastic project box shell where the hot water inlet and outlet pipes were located, and brazed 1/2 inch inlet fittings to our network and epoxied some 1/2 inch copper fittings, which were out of reach of the torch for brazing. Epoxy was used around each inlet and outlet fitting to seal the junctions.
The first evaluation was conducted on April 10, 2019. The heat exchanger connected properly at both inlets and outlets, and the epoxy held extremely well during the first evaluation. The hot water inlet temperature was 55.7 degrees Celsius, and the hot water outlet temperature was 46.5 degrees Celsius. The cold water inlet temperature was 27.5 degrees Celsius, and the cold water outlet temperature was 39.1 degrees Celsius. We had planned on setting the flow rate at 2 liters per minute, but the actual hot water flow rate was about 1.9 liters per minute, and the actual cold water flow rate was about 1.98 liters per minute.
We learned that the assembly processes for building a network of brazed tubes housed in a plastic box were difficult. Getting the order of operations correct on the first try was critical, since repairing mistakes was very difficult once the solder had been melted. Given more time, we would improve the heat exchanger by making it more serviceable.
For our final heat exchanger, we will be securing the baffles in place with glue after determining the best location for water flow around the tubes. Also, the hot water outlet was slightly leaking towards the end of testing, and so we will add more epoxy with ample time to dry to make sure this does not happen again for our final evaluation.